And so it was that SFO Grimhammer returned to the golden dildo of the gods deep in the bowels of the Dark Prince's realm as the Beastmen and Empire did righteous battle on the Bloodgrounds update. But there was no Slanesh that day, for the Beasts of Khorne had come, and a Doombull slaughterer rallied his bray herd for the taste of manflesh, the Cloven Ones. Marked by the Dark Gods, channeling the rage of their Lord of Skulls and a whole lot of angry cows, bring the storms of winter. Can the Empire endure? That is the question. We'll be showing off many of the new Beastmen toys over the next several days. Some really amazing battles on the way, and Zangors in particular I think are going to blow people's minds. But so is the Deliverance Steam Tank, the Gnoln Ironclad with its very own flame cannon and a few nasty tricks up its sleeve. Aracrastic commands a full Sigmarite army with flagellants, disciples, and an Arch-Lector, bolstered by the chaos-killing order of the Knights Panther. Thunder! Thundercats! Sorry, not sorry, it had to be done. So, I am commanding the Beastmen Bray Herds in this 40-unit cat battle, and a Doombull of Khorne is my lord of choice, a towering avatar of Rip and Tear. He disrupts enemy physical resistance and casting potential because of his father's hatred of sorcery, and is brass forged from the ground up for wading his way through blocks of infantry and leaving red mist in his wake. Powerful duelist, tons of mass, great animations for getting out of sticky situations, 15 bonus versus infantry, huge weapon strength. You do not want to get in his path when he's chugging along at full steam. Dude is a beast, literally, but he's not the only Minotaur on the field joining in the madness today. Minotaurs with great weapons aren't changed too much, but they're called Khorngors now, and they have more armor than the other variants. Going very thematic here with the Mark of Khorne, melee buffs, and immune to psych at high leadership. They've got 30 bonus versus large, so 82 melee attack against monsters or cav is nothing to sneeze at. Get them on top of the enemy high value targets, they will rip and tear until it is done. Very useful. Got a Doombull to help anchor the minibus with his scary stat line. It's a Doombull, you know it well at this point, and some Harpy swooping overhead to shut down those ranged threats from the Empire. But those aren't really the main thing here. Khorngors, the Bestigors of the Blood God, might be the main course, the entree, and they are going to be the core infantry in this battle. They are blenders. 10 bonus versus infantry, decent AP. They fight better when they drop below half HP, as fear of failure in the eyes of Khorne spurs them onwards towards more bloody sacrifice in his name. They're a really good frontline unit, and I think they're one of the coolest additions in the roster. But of course, this is not the patch where they got added for the first time. They've been in the game since like 2017. They've been around for a while. So, shifting over to the hillside, hidden in the shadows are Ungor Herd, Stalk, and Vanguard, making them a very useful unit for flanking. And they have 5 bonus versus infantry in SFO, so really want to get them into those handguns and range units if I can, but they have a long way to march. And across the field are the Warriors of Sigmar Heldenhammer with the Steam Tank Deliverance in the Vanguard. This thing is super cool. Costs 3,000 gold, but suppresses enemies with its shots, can vent off scalding steam, and explode nearby enemies when it gets surrounded, which is super awesome and can deal a tremendous amount of damage. It blows up if and when it dies, and it can switch between regular cannonballs and a flame cannon mounted on the top. So a ton of utility, causes fear, and all steam tanks have perfect vigor in SFO. Rocking the black and gold color scheme of the New Orleans Saints, who dat? And that thing is going to be a terror in the night. Not going to be easy to take it down, but the Minotaurs and that Doombull might just have the killing power to do so. Leading the Empire is an Arch-Lector, standard kit on him, with Grand Shield of Faith, Soulfire, Faith's Bastion, and Benediction, and he's a very tanky support lord who can keep all his units fighting much longer than they would normally be able to with those beautiful ward saves. But the cavalry is what has me worried. Knights Panther are strong. Bonus versus large, immune to psych, and their banished contact effect lets them cut right through resistance while being resistant to magic themselves. Very tough nut to crack for sure. Looking straight out of Thundercats, they even have the same logo on some of their shields, which is pretty funny. But over here, Empire has all their provincial units on custom battle and multiplayer, which means the Bordermen grenade launchers are ready for action. Lower leadership and missile resist with those frag bombs, bunch of flagellants and Empire state troops as the main force, archers in the rear, and over on the left flank are some Sigmarite disciples, acolytes of the warrior priests and arch-lectors who may one day ascend to leadership within the cult of Sigmar. Their Sigmar shield give some nice buffs as well, and they're going to be a nice little support unit on the front line. Magic attacks can be pretty useful in a fight against the Beastmen. Again, all units in SFO do have base physical resistance, so being able to cut through that a bit easier is very, very useful. So those are the builds. You can see some Vanguard stuff, Centaurs and Harpies hiding around the map, ready to charge in from behind. And as we take one more look at that golden monolith, we will begin the battle in earnest. And they will begin closing the gap here. Khorngors and that Doombull ready to charge in, but the Deliverance Steam Tank has a gift for the Bray Herds, and a few of those Beastmen will die before they ever make it into melee combat. So the game plan here is simple for the Beastmen, straightforward from a tactics perspective anyway. The Ungors with stock will be moving up on the Empire right flank, trying to get in and around behind to put a severe amount of pressure on all those ranged units. And a lot of those ranged units are very powerful. You need to shut them down early. Beastmen don't have a lot of armor besides their Khorngors. Even the Minotaurs can get kind of torn up by handgun and archer volleys. So need to make sure a lot of pressure is put on their rear. That's what the Harpies, Centaurs, and the Ungors with stock will be good for. And we're kind of catching out Eric Krastig a little bit early on. He's not really in a position to absorb these charges. Much of his right flank is out of position, and that means those Tattersouls Flagellants can get caught out immediately. And one thing you'll notice with the Beastmen in SFO Grimhammer, their infantry is much faster than they are in vanilla, which means you close the gap and can get up on top of people much quicker than they would normally expect you to be able to. So we've caught him out with his pants down a little bit here, and he'll drop a Common of Cassandora to try to catch out my Khorngors, and I'm going to notice it right away, pull them out of that fight, and as that thing rains down from above, it won't do much of anything except friendly fire his own troops and delete them from the game, which I quite enjoyed. I like that start to the battle. It's a pretty good way to get a very expensive and important infantry unit off the field. Those Tattersouls have a huge HP pool, and Khorngors into the second rank of Flagellants as Knights Panther charge in. The Khorngors are in there now, golden monolith shining in the background, Flagellants getting their arms, legs, and heads ripped off. And yeah, this should not be a very difficult fight for the Bestigors of the Blood God. They will carve their way right through as grenade launchers rain down on my own Khorngors, and the Minotaurs look to get stuck in. But the battle lines are drawn very strangely right now. Eric Krastig's entire army is slanted on that hilltop, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that he just was not expecting the Beastmen to be able to close into melee as quickly as they did. And that is fairly thematic, right? It's kind of what the Beastmen are good for. Their ambushes and their speed, their mobility, is really kind of what defines them. But being mobile isn't very helpful when the Deliverance Steam Tank is rolling through your battle line and murdering you. And Purple Sun, won't you come and wash away the Empire? They're dead. They're just dead. They're all dead. They're literally all dead. That Purple Sun is just vicious in SFO. Destroyed the Bordermen grenade launchers and those state troops in the back. Got easily over 150 kills with a single cast, and the Bray Shaman is feeling himself after that one. Minotaurs with great weapons and the Doombull are on the hunt, and they smell metal. They're going straight for that Steam Tank. Deliverance Steam Tank needs to die, because wherever it's kind of rolling through my battle lines, it's destroying stuff left, right, and center. It can be pretty vicious, very powerful in melee. Not firing a lot right now, but Spirit Leech will normally lower its vigor, but of course it is perfect vigor in SFO, and should be able to do a little bit of damage, although I bet its magic resistance is pretty high too. Back here, the Centaur ambush is not working out super hot right now. The Knights Panther are actually almost as fast as Centaurs, and when they get in charge range, they're even faster, and their bonus versus large is going to be a big problem for these Centaur units. They're actually tailor-made for killing units like this one. I might have gotten a bit overzealous with the Harpies and with those Centaurs, trying to make something happen to get into the crossbows and the handguns and the grenade launchers, and sacrificing more there than I should have. The stock for the Ungors, though, has been very useful, and out there in melee, that bonus versus infantry is going to make them chunk through those handguns super easy. Really, really like that unit, and the remains of the Bordermen are still around. Arch-Lector in the center of everything, casting those ward saves, raining down Grand Soul Fire from above, orbital bombardments dropping down, and the Doombull managed to kill a lot of that Steam Tank off as the Khorngors start chopping through those Flagellants. and the grenade launchers are probably going to do more damage to their own stuff than the opposition. But that steam tank is so close to going down here. Would love to strike the killing blow. Aerocrastic raining down yet another Comet of Cassandora, this time on my Ungor Raiders, and they're going to get blown apart by that spell. Red giblets flying everywhere, a Uranus Thunderbolt, and look at that damage. That is insane. Holy crap, I think they were mostly full HP there, and after that, they're down to like half. So yeah, that was like a good 3,500, 4,000 damage easy, and that didn't feel too good. But a master bait is in the works. I threw my Doombull, Gorbel, and Bulgors into a kind of isolated position, hoping to bring Aerocrastic into a kind of blobbed up position where we could then nuke them into the next millennium, and that is exactly what our Brave Shaman is going to try to do, casting a Purple Sun Azarius, landing on top of the Empire Spearmen, the State Troops, and those Knights Panther, and it will send them all to the Netherrealm. A beautiful cast. And remember that on Monstrous Infantry or Monstrous Lords, they won't really take any damage from Purple Sun. That is all going to be fantastic damage going the way of the Empire. Deleting Knights Panther, deleting Empire State Troops, a lot of stuff dead there, and that Brave Shaman has certainly already paid for himself as we push through and finish off the remnants of that cav. Flame Cannon from Deliverance Steam Tank going forth. Khorngors still fighting it out. Harpies and Infantry getting a nice rear charge there too. Yeah, the Khorngors are really going to be the make or break unit here. They have taken a lot of damage, but Arrow's got to be close to running out of Winds of Magic at this point. And if we can chunk through these Empire State Troops, get into the rear, like these Centaurs are doing, could be good. But that's a beautiful overlapped engagement from Aerocrastic, surrounding those Centaurs and probably going to kill them off for good. Harpies do have an avenue to get into the handguns and archers, though. And over on this side, Primal Roar, buffing up everything for the Beastmen, giving them more melee attack, giving them more leadership. They can charge in and start ripping through stuff. But Deliverance is still alive somehow. It's been on slivers of HP for more than a couple minutes now, and I have not been able to strike that killing blow, which is really annoying because he's terror routing my Ungors, terror routing my Khorngors, who are now below half HP, so I don't think they have the immune to psych anymore. And yeah, it's becoming very difficult to actually kill off this stuff. That's gotta be the last spell, right? I mean, that's the third Comet of Cassandora. That one didn't really do too much there. But the Knights Panther charging into the Centaurs, they have been Spirit Leeched, but they have high magic resist, so they really won't take too much damage from that. If they're so low, Centaurs should be able to beat them. And with the Doombull and with the Gorbel coming in from behind, that should be the RKO the Beastmen need, and should be the end of a lot of the Empire's cavalry, which will be a huge swing. Once the Beastmen get all that stuff dead, done, and dusted, they should be in good shape to get into the archers and finish them off for good. But the Deliverance Steam Tank is pulling away yet again. Bulgors routed off a little bit earlier, charging into the Empire Knights, and you just saw the Steam Tank unleash its vent explosion there, getting rid of all of the steam and hurting anyone around it, but there was no one nearby, so it didn't do too much. Flame Cannon will, though, bathing those Khorngors in napalm and looking to line up for yet another charge through the Bestigors of the Blood God. Centaurs trying to just use their mass to tie it down for good and actually kill it off. If we can get the Bulgors and the Doombull on top of it, should be the end of the Deliverance Steam Tank, but already it has caused so much havoc in the Beastmen Bray herds, well over 140 kills, and that's a problem because it generated a lot of value, and that's a unit you don't really want to see killing off much of your army. Another flame cannon shot getting spewed forth. That poor gore. Wow, just exploded. Awesome. And this should be the end of the Steam Tank. Deliverance goes down and explodes. Didn't seem to kill anything in the AoE around it. But finally, the deed is done, and the Doombull and Gorbel can turn their attention to other priorities, like the Empire Cav. There are still a few Empire Knights around. A lot of routing on both sides, and balance bar is dead even, and we're still looking about, yeah, we're about 7.5 minutes in, and the balance bar is still dead even. Pretty cool. And both sides are tattered, and you can see that a lot of the Empire State Troops are retreating to the safety of that Arch Lector, trying to get back up on top of that hill, which is very smart. Empire Knights, beautiful sandwich on those Khorngors, and that should destroy them. So, there's not a lot of infantry left for the Beastmen. The Centaurs got beat up by the Knights Panther and the Empire Knights in that disastrous cap engagement up top, and that will leave these two heroes and lords on a bit of an island. But in the Beastmen roster, there are very few things I would trust to be on an island more than a Doombull, especially one dedicated to the blood god Khorne. He's in his element at this point. Yeah, there are Empire State troops with spears surrounding him, but does he really care all that much? Buffing up his melee stats like crazy, going to work, and every time he swings those dual axes, reaping a terrible toll in and amongst the men of Sigmar. Gorbel backing him up, fighting back to back here. Beastmen making their last stand, and it could be one that seals the deal for the Beastmen and gives them the win. Taking them down is going to be incredibly hard. Archlector is not a good duelist, and there's no way these Empire State troops are going to stick in melee against a Doombull for too long. Terror routes about to set in, and in fact, some of them already are. But maybe dueling isn't what you want out of your lord in this kind of scenario. Maybe the Archlector is the perfect lord to be holding on and keeping those Empire State troops in the fight with his Benediction leadership buff, with his ward saves, keeping them in there. Yeah, the Doombull is going to shred them in melee, but there are a decent amount left, and they are being kept alive and in the fight here as more stuff piles in. Celestial Wizard on a Pegasus wants to take the duel. Bray Shaman charging in there. Khorngors in the background, waiting to get charged in. Might have forgotten about them for a split second there once they got routed. And looks like they do have an attack order now, trying to get at those archers, but they're kind of far away. Goring Empire State troops left and right, but the balance bar beginning to shift, and the Doombull is routed, and that is going to seal the deal for the Empire. The men of Sigmar will take it, and the Khorngor too late to turn the tide. And much of it, I think, ended up revolving around that cavalry fight on the hillside. Centaurs, if they're held on for a little bit longer, wait till his Knights Panther are committed in another engagement, then swoop in from the rear, might be able to finish them off easier, and then get into those archers and handguns, which managed to position themselves on the high ground there in the late stages of that battle. There were a few micro mistakes there, which are going to happen for both sides, honestly. It's a 40 unit cap battle. It is hard to micro that many troops, that much stuff going on, especially with how fast the Beastmen move in this mod. Not easy to control them, because even your infantry is moving at like 55 speed, so if you put them in the wrong situation, they'll die off pretty quick. Very glass cannon, very squishy, but yeah, I think I needed to take a much better cav fight if I wanted to pull that one out. Still, ended up being incredibly close. Aerocrastic had minimal troops left at the end of that battle. The Khorngors were amazing. Look at those kill counts. 206, 170, 166, 130, even with getting focused down by those Common Cassadoras and the Uranus Thunderbolts. Still managed to make a huge impact here, as did the Bray Shaman with almost 300 kills with 2 Purple Sons of Xerius. Doombull, 59 kills, which is not really representative of how useful he was. He did all the damage to the Steam Tank, and that's because he was chasing after the Steam Tank for so long. Yeah, you want to have him in infantry, but he was still one of my best choices for killing off Deliverance, so I felt it was worth trying to chase that thing down. And in the end, Deliverance did end up getting 149 kills anyway, so it really did shred a lot of my Bray Herd, which was pretty cool. Love seeing that thing go to work. Really cool unit, very nice addition. The Empire Spearmen, very useful in the front ranks for holding the line, and that Archlector really did buff up all that stuff. But honestly, I think that MVP probably goes to the Knights Panther. They kill off the cav, kill off the mobility, let the handgun stay alive, and ultimately, that is what decided the game. Aerocrastic played very well. GG to him. See ya in the next one.